We're live. That was like a...
Okay, how you going?
Very, very well.
Awesome.
Doing all right for a Wednesday.
So we'll start off with a guest that nobody has met before.
Hi, I'm
Okay.
Sophia.
Yeah. Introduce yourself, Sophia, and tell us about yourself, what you do, and you were telling us before about your Stitch account.
Stitch.
Is that what it is?
Twitch.
Oh, Twitch.
Yeah. That's a dad moment.
Yeah.
That is a dad moment.
That was the best.
That was best. Yeah.
I'm Sophia. I'm 22. I've been in the fitness industry for 3 years. I own a gym with Carmelita. Should we talk about her or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
how about which gym is it?
The gym is Premium PT, Premium PT Adelaide, and we are down in Myland.
Awesome.
Yeah, just behind that. It's a park stadium-y thingy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
How long you been in the industry for?
3 years now. 3 years. I went straight into study after school, studied part-time, worked part-time, and then went straight to a chain gym, and then learnt everything I could from a mentor there, and then took it to the next level, opened up a gym.
That's awesome. Yeah. Opening up gyms is very admirable.
Yeah.
Anyone who does it's amazing.
Oh, wow.
This bloke.
Yeah.
Tickets on himself.
That was yeah.
We're
just
all
mucking around.
we're a trifecta.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three of us.
Yeah.
I don't have a gym.
You don't have a gym?
No, James owns that one.
Oh, James
Yeah,
owns
yep,
it.
that's
Oh.
wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awkward.
You have your own, eh?
You're like
It'll
one
come.
you're
one
like,
day.
You're like
Yeah.
Robin in the duo, and he's Batman.
Yeah.
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 Sure.
Awesome.
There we go.
So what was the it was the Twitch account?
Twitch,
Yeah.
yes, Twitch. Yeah, I have an account on Twitch. It's Sophia Squats.
Okay. All one word?
All one word.
Yeah.
It's phonetic,
Yeah.
hopefully. And yeah, I stream up to 5 times a week, sometimes more if I've got lots of time, which isn't often, owning a business as well as training. And yeah, I just stream my workouts. They're about 1 hour to 90 minutes. Sometimes I'll do like a recovery day, or other times I'll just do like a just chatting where I just talk about any sort of topics that are trending at the moment. So maybe like nutrition, supplements, that kind of stuff. My knowledge is fairly basic, but I try to cover it from experience rather than from an overall perspective.
I think simplicity can work really well with a lot of the topics that Brendan and I and you cover. It's all to do with trying to simplify it for the general public. I think when you get too technical, or if you start to use jargon that's within the industry that general public doesn't use, and then it's useless information because people can't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I think it's also good when you do simplify it for others. It also simplifies it for yourself too.
Yeah, big time.
It's good to sometimes just break it down and realize, hey, it's like just a slow, steady journey.
Absolutely.
There's no like panic in the experience. You just take your time and have fun.
Yeah. For sure.
But you're talking about your knowledge. I'm sure you have, like with the question that's come in, I'm sure you're going to have much more knowledge about this.
And experience, obviously.
First-hand experience. You heard it here first. Yeah, hopefully I can give great insight.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, one of the questions that has come through anonymously, and I'm loving that people are submitting questions, was surrounding menstrual cycles and training and how that impacts you, how much you should train, how much you shouldn't, what to expect, especially with high-intensity training.
Absolutely.
In particular, CrossFit.
Yeah.
Or CrossFit style training.
Yeah.
Sophia, where would you like to start with that? What kind of springs to mind with you?
So first thing that pops into mind is the period or menstruating. So when you're bleeding, and I think the biggest misconception about that is that you should be able to train just as hard as always through that period, pun intended. Sometimes you can, and I guess it's individual and it's based on the person and maybe your genetics or maybe just your experience, your level of conditioning, nutrition, sleep, hydration, plenty of factors affect that. But I think the biggest misconception and the biggest thing that I find myself consoling my female clients about is that, you're actually not in your best condition to train. Your hormone levels aren't where they usually would sit when you are training. Your body is undergoing a lot of stress. You have less energy, so you need to cater for that in your training and also in every other part of your life. And I think a lot of people are disappointed, or they find themselves more hurt. Besides the fact that you commonly find that women are more emotional during that period, or there's that period of, pun intended again, PMS, premenstrual syndrome, where things are more emotional, or you find yourself feeling down. I mean, you may not, but you may find yourself feeling more sensitive. Things hurt more. It's harder to do things. You feel less motivated, more fatigue overall. I find myself consoling a lot of my clients who are hurt that they can't train as hard or do as well, or like they're just not in the zone. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose that's, as weird as it sounds, it is trying to set back an ego, and it's not a bad ego, but it's just giving them prior knowledge, so then when they go through that experience, that they can actually understand that, look, it's not the end of the world. They can move past it. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of the conversations with clients and stuff, but more from the physical hurt, and that's like when you're, particularly with some of my clients where they get achy.
Yeah.
How do you deal with your strength training? Because I do it based on person by person.
Yeah.
But you've done some strength cycles. You've gone through some of that. Like, how do you tend to deal with it?
My personal experience, if I'm feeling achy, I'll pull the percentage back all the way up to 15%. Like, it really, like some weeks you have a really good week, and that's a point we can touch on later as well. Like, there is a really good window where you will get a lot of strength gains just based on hormones alone, body processing carbs, like that kind of stuff. But during that achy period, like pulling it right back, doing lower intensity, maybe doing more, aerobic style workouts, not necessarily HIIT workouts, but something that's more slower based, not so much endurance, I wouldn't say, but something like
moderate intensity,
absolutely, where the client or yourself can just breathe through it, not do things that are new and challenging, or not try to hit PBs. That's generally what I'll do. I'll take it right back and make sure there's more rest time, make sure there's more warm up time. Like, you actually have to be really careful. And it's something that's overlooked by everyone. I think it's just a lack of knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Like something that I don't really know too much about, to be honest with you. And so I guess, if you push yourself too hard, because people that do CrossFit or high intensity workouts love that buzz of pushing and, breaking through barriers and really challenging themselves. Is it more the experience that they have at the time, or is it like the next day when it's going to hurt a lot?
I mean, personally, I find it's at the time. And to tell you the truth, and this is me, and this may not be everyone, the first day is the worst day. And that is the day where you're cramping, you're hungry, you're bloated, you want to cry, you just want to go back to bed. Like, it's just the worst day, and everything hurts. And no matter how much Panadol or whatever you take, no matter how much heat you apply, you can't really perform as best as you want. Like, you want to take every possible thing you can take. You want to drink as much water as you can. You want to eat as much as you can. Get the potassium in. Who knows? Nothing seems to work for me. And I just find that on that day, you either have to have a rest day, you have to just accept what you can achieve on that day and be proud of it, and then push through to the next day, or just accept that it's not going to be great. Yeah.
So that's that mindset again, scaling.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about that.
So like you're talking about with sleep, nutrition, all of these factors, we spoke about that in previous podcasts, which is really cool. And then, the mindset, again, we've touched on that with heaps of different podcasts as well. So starting to see a trend, right? Like all of these take into a level that we need to really highlight more often.
You almost need a pyramid of things. And when that pyramid, because sometimes, maybe nutrition's at the top, and other times maybe sleep and hydration. I find that around that time of the month, or whatever you might call it, I'm warmer. Like, my body temperature rises, and that's a thing that happens because of the hormones and the change that's happening with them. So you already feel warm, and like, particularly in summer, it sucks. Like, you just want to get in an ice bath and just not be there. So I find that, sleep is not as good, even if you're sleeping all the way through, which I always do, but even if you are, the quality's not as great. So maybe increasing that amount of sleep before you go and train, maybe changing the time that you train, like all of those things can definitely work for an individual. It is personalized, I find. Yeah,
I like that.
Going back to cramping and stuff, the only thing that I've kind of went with clients is literally I've kind of stopped flexion-based stuff.
Great.
But again, because I don't have personal experience, that's the only thing that's like, all right, well, if it's sore, we'll just steer clear from it.
Yep.
I suppose if that's a good thing, then we could definitely get members to try and approach us coaches and just give different alternatives for sure.
Absolutely.
What is it like as far as like training on the day. What I mean by that is it advisable to still continue your training? Is it going to be more beneficial for you? Like, you feel mentally better, and is it better for your body? And that time that you're going through that experience, is it better to do that for you?
That's a really tricky question. Yeah. And I think it depends on the person. I have a range of clients who have really, really bad days, like where I've got one specifically that I can think of, won't mention names, but she'll come in and she'll just she looks like she has no color in her face. She'll look like she wants to kill me. Any mention of squats or burpees and it's, no, I'm going home. I think on days like that, it can be really important as a coach specifically to, cater to other factors, like maybe go through some breathing techniques. Like, that can be a really good way to open up the diaphragm, and that whole area there is cramping and it's tight. So working through that, maybe doing some stretching, like things like that to alleviate the pain and the cramping and the tightness, and it's a really awful feeling. I find that that's beneficial. I personally, I will train through it.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless it's debilitating, which I haven't had, but unless it is that way with a client, I will encourage them to train through.
Which some people will, and like you're saying, if they're getting like no color in their face.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, like, that's something that's from a person, like, that's from personal training. What we can do is work on the technical basis and give them a priority to work on within that workout where it is low intensity, and it can just be a skill base. That's maybe an alternative that we can definitely do. But I think the highlighting thing is communication between whoever's instructing you with all this exercise, and that comes down to us coaches and to the members to really feel comfortable, and hopefully we make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I think that is the key as well, is that people will come in and they'll train, and no matter how they're feeling or what they're going through, that they know that it's a place that they're going to not get injured or overtrained, or they're going to be listened to, and that they're going to get better every time, whether it's psychologically or physically, that they go away each time going, hey, that was awesome, I love this place.
I can still be productive on my worst day. I can be even better on my best day.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Did you just make that up then?
Oh, mate, it's rolling through.
Motto.
It's just
Anthem.
Flow of intelligence.
That's all I'm about.
Yeah, I like it. That's really cool. So, yeah, like, I guess... I don't really know what else to talk about that specific thing, or what to think about it.
Is there anything else?
Any supplements that work?
Ooh, that's a tough one. And that's something that I've sort of started to delve into as well. So far, I've found nothing helps. I find that, just gritting your teeth, taking the Panadol, working through it. Honestly, the biggest thing that I've done is sleep more. I already sleep pretty well. But adding an extra hour, drinking more water before you train, I find obviously you're losing water, so you need to replace that. Having the foods that make, like, comfort foods, not unhealthy foods, but, I have a big bowl of oats in the morning, and I'll have that right before I train. If I've got to move my training to the afternoon because I'm in pain, I'll do that, and I'll skip breakfast, or I'll change my breakfast, so I might opt for a smoothie or something like that, for example, to be very specific, and then later on have that meal because I know it has a good amount of carbs, protein, fat already, and I know it's something that makes me feel good before I train. So really just making sure it's you need like a warm hug. It's like comfort that you need to train like in that situation. And honestly, after that, I find them really good. Other things to mention are different parts of the cycle, so to speak. Your hormones are at a level. So for example, estrogen will be at a good level after your period, where you can train hard and get the gains that you're trying to get. For every person, it's different. And having the trust between you and a client to talk about, when do you get your period, can be really important, because that's when you can really push that person. That's when emotionally they're probably their most sharpest. That's when their concentration, their accuracy, and, all of those things may align. I've found with my experience talking to a couple of my clients about it, or the ones that really trust me who just tell me, that's when I find that they get they hit PBs or PRs, whatever you want to call it.
PBs.
Yeah, PBs. PBs. They'll feel really good afterwards. The endorphins, everything just aligns. So that can range from like day one all the way through to like 30 days later, depending on that person. And not every person has a perfect 28-day cycle or takes the pill or those kinds of things. There's plenty of factors that can impact it. But knowing your client.
Yeah, that's really cool. So not just the negatives, but also where can you really
fit the positives?
Yeah, hit those positives.
Yeah,
cool.
Nice. Well, when we're talking about drinking water, that also brings me to another point that I was also thinking and heard about, which was bladder control in workouts.
Oh, great.
That some women find that a challenge, especially after having children as well. Personally as well, like if I'm running and I'm really pushing it, like I'll feel like I need to go to the bathroom. So that's all I can relate
to. Get those pelvic floor exercises.
Yeah.
That's what,
actually, let's talk about that.
I feel like I'm about to wet
Gotta
my
get
pants.
a balloon out.
You know, and it's like it makes me go a little bit faster to get back to the gym in time in case I need to go. But
extra motivation.
PRs.
Pun intended.
Wow. Got it.
Well, actually, I don't have a name for the study that I read because I read it really fast on my way somewhere once. So this is going to sound really uncredible. Is that a word?
Incredible.
Incredible. Yeah. I read a study, literally the first line, which said CrossFitters have the worst pelvic floors.
Okay.
Worse than some women who have had triplets. And I don't know how on earth you would know that or how on earth you would back that up.
Savages,
just bagging CrossFit. I've got a few clients that have had babies. I've had a lot of clients that are gonna have babies that have done the pre-workout stuff, I guess, if you want to call pregnancy a workout. They've done the pre-pregnancy hab with me, and you can definitely train all the way through and up to having a baby. I've seen it, and I didn't think I ever would, and I've seen people come straight back. I've seen doctors after my clients have had babies who said, "What are you doing? That was amazing." They couldn't believe it. And anyone who thinks the second that they get pregnant that their pelvic floor is going to go, that they're not going to be able to train, that training is bad for them, doesn't know what they're talking about. Or they're speaking to the wrong people.
Yeah, getting the information from the wrong source.
Exactly right.
So with the pelvic floor stuff, so going back to that.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's good
Segue.
Because we haven't got a female to talk to, so it's good we could pick your brain. But so with pelvic floor exercises, trying to work on what they call the TA, which is like the sheath around your stomach.
Transverse abdominis.
Yeah. Sounds like a dinosaur. But yeah, working on the pelvic floor exercises. I actually it was a post on Instagram that I commented on, but mainly trying to go to physios or go to trainers to be coached on how to do that. Because it is a very, very specific skill on how to work on your pelvic floor. So for some people, it's like trying to make a smile with your belly buttons. For others, for guys, it's bringing the testicles up. For girls, you might have a different type of feeling. But I've done it with a lot of clients, so I've actually went and done it myself. And so you can actually have an ultrasound to check how your pelvic floor activates and whether it's smooth. That definitely helps with your bladder control. But then there's also, I know with heavy lifting, I spoke to a physio about that because that's actually something that we commonly see throughout skipping,
box jumps,
star jumps, and heavy
running.
lifting.
Yeah,
running. And so he actually said there can be like a slight dysfunction within the spinal cord that puts pressure on a certain area.
Wow.
Which it then attaches to the bladder, which it can't, like you can have good pelvic floor control, but sometimes just having that extra pressure, like globally through your lower back, can just sometimes happen.
And is that a common thing?
It is super common. Like, and it's not something that you should be like worried about or feeling terrible about. It's super common.
So that's the pressure on the lower back.
So the spinal cord can have a certain amount of pressure.
Yeah.
And then so having a certain amount of pressure on the spinal cord can then end up
causing bladder control issues.
Yeah, pretty much.
So with that, does that mean that we're looking at CrossFit and losing weight potentially around the lower back midsection area is going to help with that? Is that what you're trying to go towards?
Potentially. So weight loss and pelvic floor stuff can help, but sometimes it can't be prevented. Sometimes it's just something that people experience.
And I guess you got to look at what the cause of that pressure on the spine is as well. Like whether it's breaking the kinetic chain, whether it's a movement
whether you're
pattern.
moving weird or whether it is just a mechanical issue.
Yeah.
And that's, again, something for a physio to more see.
Absolutely.
But for us as coaches to kind of send you in the right direction.
That's where allied health can be really important.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many times I've fallen back to a specific physio who's maybe specialised in women's health. And let's give her a shout out, Kate Henry.
She used to work here.
Yeah, she used to work here. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's
very good with women's health.
She's great with women's health. She's so passionate. She's amazing. She got one of my clients all the way through and all the way out of pregnancy.
Awesome.
Training with me. She trained all the way up to her last week.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
It was incredible. And there are so many things that as a PT, you might go and do a pre and postnatal course and learn, but you don't know specifically for that individual how to know when to take things away, how to monitor things like, for example, overheads. You there's so many specifics that are brushed over. There's so many things that you need to specialize in to understand. And when you can have that partnership or that communication with someone who does specialize in it, such as Kate, going back and forth, like, I think I would have done damage to a client if I hadn't had her there with me to say, look, you've got to actually increase your rest time. You've got to actually reduce the intensity and the load. You can try this technique. This is what I'd suggest. Have you heard of this exercise? There's so many things that having that other person there to fall back on, like, it gives you confidence as a trainer, but it also validates the things that you know as well. And it helps you to learn your client more, which again is what I keep saying. Knowing your client in all of these situations and most situations overall is what can get you that and what can give you the skills to get the most out of that person for them.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good kind of way to summarize what we've talked about today.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
we've looked at the cycle and the period and how to best manage that. And I guess, again, this is all learning new things for me, and the personal approach is probably ideal as far as each person will know their body pretty well. But yeah, if there's clients out there that do struggle with these things or feels uncomfortable, to come and talk to us and know that, like, we'll give you some advice as far as scaling it, working within the intensity that you're prepared to work at. If you're feeling cramps in certain areas, not to flex in certain areas, to overload, the stomach and things like that.
For sure.
And if you've got bladder control issues, again, core strength and conditioning is going to help a lot with that. Yep. But if it's quite problematic, we can refer you in the right direction, or at least give you some names that might help.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Is anything else that's in your mind or on your shoulders that you'd like to talk about?
I think that's covered quite a bit. But yeah.
I don't know. I think that's everything.
That's everything. So thanks again to Sophia. Sophia squats at Twitch.
Got it.
Stitch.
Yeah.
I'm moving up in the world. And,
yes.
And also she's a personal trainer out at
Premium PT Adelaide.
Premium PT. Give her page a like. Hit her up if you're looking to get some personal training out at
Myland. That's
awesome.
The one. Yeah.
Love it. All right. Thanks, guys. Again, really enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed that and you'd like to ask some more questions, shoot them down below or send them through personally.
It'll be our next topic.
And I'm sure we'll have Sophia back to talk about other issues that come up.
I'm so there. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Peace out.